One of the main issues that I first got involved in was the whole issue of fluoride emissions from aluminium smelters. And at that time, New Zealand Aluminium Smelter was looking at making a step change in the way that they cleaned their gases. And so they brought us in to help understand the fundamentals of the process in order to design a process which was much more efficient. In the electrolysis cell, where aluminium is produced, a side reaction produces hydrogen fluoride, and that needs to be captured before the gases are released to the environment. And there's a process that's used called dry scrubbing. What you do is you use the alumina, which is actually eventually fed to the cell to make aluminium. Before you feed it to the cell, you put it in a dry scrubber to contact the gases, and then you use that same alumina, which now has fluoride on it, and you feed it back to the cell. So your scrubbing system is beautifully integrated with your process, and you also have a way of then returning that fluoride to the cell, because it's very important in keeping the control of the chemistry of the cell. The other side of it is, how do you minimize how much fluoride actually gets generated in the first place? And therefore, what can you do about how you run the process or what you feed into the process to minimize those emissions? It's the combination of the understanding of some really fundamental science related to the process, and then the translation of that into how do you put that into practice in a real smelter. So the light metals team put together a fluoride emissions management guide to really put into practice some of the fundamental work that we had discovered in the lab. I'm currently chairing the Aluminium Committee of the Metals, Minerals and Materials Societies, and I am the first woman to be the chair of that international committee. There is an issue around probably needing more role models for women in what are not considered necessarily very feminine sort of roles, but I've had the great pleasure to work with a lot of really talented women postgraduates and women engineers who are doing amazing things. We bring our own kind of approach to it, which I think benefits the smelting industry just as diversity benefits any area of endeavor.